Okay.
Good morning, all the children. Welcome to the class of finite and non-finite verb. Today we are going to start with the ninth lecture of this topic. Earlier we have discussed almost the topic is finished. Only one verb is left. That is gerund. One type of verb is left. That is gerund. We have already discussed finite verb, transitive, intransitive verb, infinitive, to infinitive, bare infinitive, participle, past participle, present participle, perfect participle. All these verbs have been done with examples. Now only one type of verb is left, that is gerund. Today we are going to start with that topic. Children, it might be a new word for you. You might not have heard this word before, but it's very interesting topic. Gerund is a very interesting topic. We use it every day, right? What is a gerund? First of all, let's see the definition of gerund. Children, the ing form of a verb, the ing form of a verb, when it is used as a noun in a sentence, it is called a gerund. Now, some people can ask me, we have done present participle, that is also ing form of the verb. Then when we do continuous tense, then also we are using ing form of the verb. Children, I will tell you the difference also at the end of this topic. After we have finished the topic of gerund, I will tell you the difference between ing form of verb used as verb, ing form of the verb used as past present participle, ing form of the verb used as gerund. I will tell you all these differences afterwards. Let's start this topic. So gerund is ing form of the verb. It is mostly used as a noun in a sentence. Children, do you remember when we were doing present participle? There also we discussed ing form of the
Yes,
verb.
sir.
There it is not used as a noun. There it is used as an adjective. It was used as an adjective or an adverb. So present participle is also called verbal adjective. Similarly, this word gerund. Gerund is ing form of the verb used as a noun, right? So it is also called a verbal noun. We can also call uh, gerund a verbal noun. What is a verbal noun? It is a gerund. What is a verbal adjective? It is present participle. I hope the definition of gerund is clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Children, there are so many uses of gerund. I'll discuss all the uses with examples. Before that, let me tell you, children, when I say noun, you all know the uses of noun. How can we use nouns in a sentence? We can use noun as a subject or as an object. Only noun or pronoun can act as subject or object. Verb cannot act as subject. Adverb cannot act as subject. Adjective cannot act as subject. Preposition, conjunction, interjection cannot act as subject. So out of eight parts of speech, noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, adjective, conjunction, preposition, and interjection. Out of these eight parts of speech, only two parts of speech, only two words, noun or pronoun, can act as subject or object. So, children, whenever we talk about subject or object in a gerund, when we are talking about gerund and we are talking about subject or object, it means we are talking about noun. Is it clear? So it's very clear that
Sir.
gerund will act as subject or object. Gerund will act as subject or object. Let's look at the definition. Gerund. A gerund is a non-finite verb. As I have already told you, it's a non-finite verb because the time is not clear. Obviously, from noun, time cannot be clear. Time is always clear from verb. So time is not clear. It cannot have different forms. Like if you say smoking, smoking cannot have different forms. You cannot say smoking or smokinging. So you cannot have different forms. It will not be used as a verb, it will not have tense element and it cannot change the forms. So a gerund is a non-finite verb. It ends with ing. It means some word will come before it. So small hyphen is there. It functions as a noun in a sentence that I have already told you, and hence it is also called a verbal noun. Children, this is the definition of gerund. I hope the definition is okay with everyone.
Yes, sir.
Now we are going to see the different uses of gerund. Gerund has so many uses in a sentence. When you talk about English grammar, when you talk about non-finite verb, gerund occupies an important place, right? So from the examination point of view also, this topic is very important. Children, just keep one thing in mind. Whenever you have the question like this, fill in the blank with a gerund. One verb will be given to you in the bracket. Just add ing with it and you will get the answer. Because what is a gerund? Ing form of the verb. Right? There is only one possibility. No active passive voice. Only one possibility. Ing form. You just add ing with the verb given to you in the bracket. You will get the answer. And you might have some difficulty in joining the sentences, but don't worry, when we do the exercise, everything will be okay. Now children, we are going to start with the uses of a gerund. How a gerund is used in a sentence. A gerund is used as the subject of a verb. Obviously, I have already told you it is a noun. It acts as a noun. Obviously, it will be used as subject and object. These are the major roles of a noun. Subject of a verb, second use, object of a verb, then it can be an object of a preposition, then complement of a linking verb. What is a linking verb? Linking verb is verb only, right? Is, am, are, was, were, they are also called linking verbs. Then it can act as part of a noun phrase. This is the fourth use. Fifth use, part of a noun phrase. Then sixth use, it can be used as part of a compound noun. Children, do you know the meaning of compound noun?
Yes,
Compound noun, as the compound sentence is made up of two independent sentences. Similarly, compound noun is also made up of two or more than two words. When two or three nouns are joined together to make one word or to make one noun, that is called compound noun. Like tablecloth, sunflower, blackboard. These are compound nouns. You can make compound nouns by joining two words without a space, like sunflower, or you can make a compound noun with a space, like tablecloth. There will be a space between both the words. Tablecloth, it is a compound noun. You can also make a compound noun with the help of small hyphens, like brother-in-law. We don't write brother then in then a law. We always put a small hyphen between these three words. Brother, then small hyphen, in, then small hyphen, then law. Brother-in-law. So we can make compound noun in three ways. You can join the two words. You can separate the two words. You can join the two words with the help of hyphen. That is the meaning of compound noun. Then it can be used as a simple noun also. It can be used as a possessive adjective. What do you mean by possessive adjective? Which tells us the possession.
possession.
Like it is my book. Now, what is a book? Book is a noun. Whose book is this? My book. So it belongs to me. Also here, my is used as a possessive adjective. So you will be surprised to see gerund acting as a possessive adjective. This is another beautiful thing related to gerund.
Yeah.
Then it can be used with it, and obviously it can be used to combine the two simple sentences to make one simple sentence. Right? Two sentences, three sentences can be joined together, and we can have the end product of one sentence, one simple sentence. Children, these are the uses of a gerund. I hope the uses are clear to you.
Yes,
When
sir.
we do this, then everything will be okay.
Yes, sir.
So subject of a verb, object of a verb, object of a preposition, complement of a linking verb, part of a noun phrase, part of a compound noun, simple noun, possessive adjective with it, and to combine the sentences. So 8-9 uses are there. Now let's see the examples from there. Things will be clear to you. Let's write down the examples. Shweta, is the quality of the video okay today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, whenever I want to have the class, before that, I switch off the data so that I have a full network during the class. I use another mobile phone if I want to watch some video or do some work on the internet. Let's write down the examples. The first example is smoking is injurious to health. Smoking is injurious to health. Is a finite verb, injurious to health. What is injurious to health? Smoking.
Smoking.
Children, smoked. Here ing form of the verb is used, but here smoking is not what you say verb. Smoking is the name of an activity. Here smoking is used as a noun. Here smoking is used as a subject. About what we are talking in this sentence. In this sentence, the subject is
Smoking. Smoking.
smoking. We are talking about smoking. So smoking is the subject. So this is a gerund. Here it is used as a subject. Let's write down the second example. Children, yesterday I shared the syllabus of December test. Date sheet is also there. The reduced syllabus is also there. Let me tell you all that 20 marks are for your internal assessment. 20 marks will be given to you by the subject in charge in every subject. If the children are not attending the classes, they are not doing the work regularly from time to time, obviously the marks will not be awarded to them, because attending the online classes, doing the assignments, scoring good marks in exams, monthly tests, all these things are to be kept in mind before awarding the marks. So the children who are attending the classes regularly will obviously get good marks, maybe full marks. The children who are missing the classes, they may suffer. Suppose if they are getting 15 marks out of 20, or the teacher is giving 12 marks to them out of 20, then multiply with 5. If 5 marks are gone, then 25 marks are gone out of 100. 25 marks are gone like this only. Then you cannot have your name in the merit list. You cannot score more than 90%. One more reason is there. How can you score good marks without attending a class, without studying, without doing your work regularly? This is a very painful thing on the part of the children, and a teacher is also quite upset when children do this thing. I have been telling this thing again and again, but still the children have become adamant. They are not ready to take the study seriously. Let's see what happens in their life. Don't be a Hassan in your life. Hassan, you see the future of Hassan, what happened to Hassan. in Hassan's attendance problem. Let's not. Second example. He does not like. So what is like? Verb, finite verb. He is subject. He does not like what? See, immediately a question comes to our mind. He does not like painting. Now what is painting? Painting is a gerund. Here it is used as an object. He does not like what? He does not like painting.
Painting.
Painted. Painting. Painting is a verb, but here it is used as a noun. Here it is the name of some picture. In the first sentence, it is the name of some activity, smoking. So whenever we have the naming word, it means we are talking about noun. What is a noun? Noun is a naming word. So smoking is a noun. Painting is also noun. In the first sentence, gerund is used as a subject of a verb. In second sentence, it is used as an object of a verb. Now, third example. Ridu is very fond of sleeping. Ridu is very fond of sleeping. What is Ridu? Ridu is subject. What is verb?
Subject.
Is verb. What is this of? Of is preposition. Of is preposition. And of what? Ridu is fond of what?
Sleep.
Whenever we get the answer of what, it means we are talking about object. So here sleeping. What is sleeping? Sleeping is a gerund.
Gerund.
And
Gerund.
it acting as? It is acting as object of a preposition. It is acting as a subject of a preposition. This is the third example. Children, what is sleeping? Sleeping is the name of the activity here. Okay. Sleeping is actually a verb. Sleep is verb. It can be noun also. Right? Sleep can be noun, but sleeping can't be noun. But here it is used as a noun. It means it is a gerund. Fourth example now. Seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. Here seeing is also gerund. Is a verb. It is a linking verb. Seeing is believing. Believing is also gerund. It is also gerund. Seeing is a subject here. And what is believing here? Believing is complement. Complement of a linking verb. What is the linking verb? Which is the linking verb here? How it is a linking verb? Because it is linking one gerund with the other gerund. Seeing is what? Seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. So seeing is used as a subject and believing is used as a complement. Children, believing is not used as a noun here. It is not used as an object. It is used as a complement of a linking verb. Children, I hope you know the difference between subject, object, and complement.
Yes.
Subject is pronoun, object is noun or pronoun. Whatever is left a part of that, if it is not noun, if it is not pronoun, if it is not verb, then it will be included in the category of complement. So it's a complement of a linking verb. Seeing is believing. Next example now. Plucking flowers in the garden is prohibited. Plucking flowers in is prohibited. What is verb. Now see, plucking flowers in the garden. What is this?
Gerund.
Flowers in the garden.
Gerund.
This is a noun phrase. How it is a noun phrase? Because noun is the head in this phrase. We are talking about subject. We are talking about some activity. Which activity? Plucking flowers.
Flower.
Flowers is the name of the activity, right? and plucking flowers in the garden. This is a complete phrase. It's a noun phrase. And which is the gerund here? Plucking is the gerund. So it is used as part of a noun phrase.
Noun phrase.
uh, when we did simple, compound, and complex sentences, there we had already discussed different types of phrases in detail. Noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase. We have also discussed clauses and types of clauses: noun clause, adverb clause, adjective clause. So I don't think that there will be any problem in understanding a noun phrase. So plucking flowers in the garden is a noun phrase, and gerund is part of a noun phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 examples are done. Let's continue with the next example. Shweta, how many children are there in the class?
Sir, 28 only.
Shweta, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Only 28 students are there.
Okay, my video is okay.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I received a call and I disconnected it. Usually, when you get a call, your video is paused. I hope you can see me clearly.
Yes, sir. Sir,
So
10
let's
minutes are left.
Okay. I don't know what has happened to the board. Maybe there is some problem with the duster. I will replace the duster today. I have the new duster, but I don't know where it is. Okay, let's continue with the next example. The guests were sitting in the waiting room. Next example. It's a very interesting topic. If you talk about that interesting topic about out of all the non-finite verbs, this is the most interesting one. The examples are so interesting that the things are clear immediately. The guests were sitting. Children, I can also say like this, that whenever the topic of gerund is there, just add ing. But I don't want to do like this, because I want to train you people for different competitive exams also. Suppose if you have done non-finite verb, it should be like this, that you sit in any competitive exam and the question is there from that topic, you are able to solve it. My purpose is not to teach you from the examination point of view. My purpose is to make the topic clear and you are able to use it in your daily life. This is my goal, that you are able to use it. The guests were sitting in the waiting room. The guests were sitting in the waiting room. Now, what is the guest? The guest is subject. Then were sitting is verb. This is helping verb. This is main verb. Now look at this word, waiting. What is waiting?
Waiting is a
Gerund. Waiting is a gerund. Waiting room. Okay. What is waiting room? Compound noun. Compound noun, because it is made up of two words. Don't confuse waiting with adjective. It is not used as an adjective. Waiting is noun and room is also noun. Waiting is the name of the activity here, and room is already a noun. So two nouns are joined together to make a compound noun. Meeting and parting are part of life. Next example. Meeting and parting. Meeting and parting. Meeting is gerund. Parting is also gerund. Are part of life. Meeting and parting are part of life. So here these are used as noun. Okay, these are used as simple noun. Okay, simple noun, and they are the subject also. Let's see the next example. Shweta, how many examples we have written? 7 examples.
yes, sir.
Now 2 examples are left. I don't like your wasting pages for no reason. I don't like You're wasting pages for no reason. Can you hear me, Shweta?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, I received a call and I disconnected it.
Yes, sir.
We'll be able to finish the examples. In the next lecture, we'll do exercises and the topic will be finished. I don't like your wasting pages for no reason. I is subject, like is verb, don't like. Now see what is possession here? You are wasting
You're
pages.
wasting pages.
I don't like your wasting pages. You are wasting pages. I don't like this. So instead of saying that you are wasting pages, I don't like this. Instead of saying this, I am saying I don't like you are wasting pages. So here possession is there. Who's wasting pages? You are wasting pages.
Wasting pages.
So here wasting is used as a gerund, and here it is used as a possessive adjective. What an interesting example. Children, this use of gerund is very important, because when we join the sentences, we can do so with this example, with this help. It will be used very often when we combine the two sentences. Possessive adjective.
So,
Now the last example. Yes,
your is also an adjective here.
yes. You are wasting.
Okay, sir.
It is no use. Next example, it is no use crying over the spilt milk. Spilt milk means which is already gone. So here it is used with, here it is used as a noun, but here it is used with it. With it. Now the last example. The teacher reached the class. Shweta, how much time is left?
Sir, 3 minutes are left.
Okay, we'll be able to finish this example. Children, this is first sentence. The teacher reached the class. This is a finite verb. The teacher is subject. Then what happened? She helped the children in the experiment. She helped the children. So she is subject. Helped is again finite verb. She helped the children in the experiment. Now in these two sentences, two actions are taking place. What happened? First, teacher reached the class, then she helped the children. Now you can easily change to combine two sentences and change it into one. What happened? Teacher reached the class. Instead of this, you can say on reaching the class. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
On reaching the class. Now look at this phrase, on reaching the class. There is no finite verb here, no tense element. So, and the next sentence will remain the same. She helped the children. She helped the children in the experiment. On reaching is gerund. Reaching is gerund, and it is used to combine the sentences here. See, children, she helped. Two independent sentences. They are joined together to make one independent sentence with the help of gerund. We have joined two simple sentences to make one simple sentence with the help of gerund. I hope these uses are clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Children, with this we finish the topic of gerund.
Yes, sir.
In the next lecture, we will do some exercises. We'll do fill in the blanks with gerund. Then we'll combine the sentences with gerund. this is quite sure, 100% surety is there that 1 or 2 questions will be there in the exams from gerund. It can be fill in the blank, or it can be combination of sentences. So children, this is the end of the class. Thank you very much. We'll continue in the next lecture.
Thank you, sir.